Hi everyone, Dr. Jeff here with you again this week with co-student Meghan. I'm going to continue talking a little bit about your foot. This week we're going to talk about something called Morton's Neuroma. So Meghan, if you're suffering from Morton's Neuroma, what's it going to feel like?
Well, you might feel like you have a stone in your shoe. You might feel some pain when you're walking or using your foot. Typically this is around the third and fourth toe. And you also might feel some tingling or numbness moving down the toes. Yeah,
so it's something similar to what we talked about a couple weeks ago with Hannah, something called metatarsalgia. People that will kind of suffer from this are people that have too high an arch or too low an arch. They've worn high-heeled shoes or the toe box is too tight. People like to jog or do high-impact sports like volleyball or badminton or tennis and things like that, where they're putting a lot of pressure on their foot. Can get this. And the big difference between metatarsalgia and Morton's Neuroma is that tingling and numbness, where the nerve running down between the toes can get entrapped within the muscle that's running in there, and that will cause some tingling and numbness in the toe and become quite bothersome. So when you're suffering from Morton's Neuroma, much like metatarsalgia, you're going to get some pain down through this area here. And as Meghan mentioned, it may feel like you've got a little pebble in your shoe when you're walking. And that's because this metatarsal, this bone here, can drop down and cause issues. And you may even feel there's a bit of a callus there sometimes. And generally with Morton's Neuroma, it's going to be in the third and fourth toes, but sometimes it can get you to the second and third toes as well. Big difference between metatarsalgia and Morton's Neuroma is that nerve that's coming down through the toes here can get trapped. And when it gets trapped, it gets pinched off, and that causes the tingling and numbness in your toes. So when you come in, we want to really kind of check to make sure that those metatarsals are moving back and forth. And if they're not, we can always do an adjustment to try and open that up a little bit. Also, we want to check on the nerve. As the nerve comes down through here, we want to make sure we can open that muscle and stretch that muscle out a little bit to see if we can release the nerve a little bit to get rid of some of that numbness and tingling in there. Sometimes what we'll do is we'll take a corn pad and we'll put a corn pad down in here, much like metatarsalgia, to try and push. If I put something in there, you can see the toes kind of plop up a little bit to try and stabilize that metatarsal a little bit. And that's where you'll feel Morton's Neuroma.
Similar to like we talked about last week, to help treat this, we can do some rolling on a frozen water bottle. We can do some toe scrunches, curling up the toes there. We can do some self-massage at home. So moving it back and forth, pulling on the toes a bit to free it up. As Dr. Jeff mentioned, we can get some corn pads. And if you need an adjustment, we can do that here. We can also do some laser or some ultrasound. They've been shown really helpful in this condition. And if those don't work, then we can get you some orthotics.
So as we talked about Morton's Neuroma, it's very similar to metatarsalgia we talked about a few weeks ago, and that's kind of usually how it starts, as a metatarsalgia, and just gets worse and worse and worse to the point where that nerve gets trapped between the muscle, and you get that tingling and numbness in the toes. So if you have any questions about anything we talked about today, anything about the exercises or about the condition, you can always email me at jgoldsworthy@goldsworthywellness.com, or we can talk to you on Facebook. If you have any conditions that you want us to talk about, you can always send them to me, and we'll certainly do the research and talk about them. And I'm Dr. Jeff, and with co-student Meghan, we've got you back.